I am just getting everything situated. We're going to be starting here in just a couple of minutes. We have a couple of people already signing on. Couple more popping in. Hello. Lots of people popping in. Oh, man. We'll start here in just a sec. Thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate you guys. And I hope everyone gets a lot out of this. I feel like in a big way, and just kind of to preface this before everyone else hops in, um, I have a ton of information that I regularly overwhelm clients with. And I feel like this is going to be a little bit better of a format to kind of start giving this information out. A mentor of mine always said too, she was like, you could really help people with this. And I see people's eyes glaze over usually about the hour and a half mark. So my goal is to basically start streamlining this and giving what I can, out to the world and helping brands that either may not know me, aren't connected to me, may not be able to afford me. I said in the little Facebook story, I know I'll get business out of this. Like of course, obviously, that's not why I'm doing it. If I can help people, I feel like that is a way. And some of the people that I'm helping also help people. So they have nonprofits and charities. And so really this is about, kind of trying to give back. And yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you guys for hopping on. So to kind of get started, I would love if you guys do have any questions to please let me know. I feel like that is kind of a way that, I can really integrate you guys with this. I don't know how many people are going to call in versus actually being on their computer. So I figured it was easier just to kind of roll with it and just let things kind of go as they will. But again, if you have questions specific for your business, please ask it. There may be someone else who's interested in that. If you don't want to take notes, I do have an AI note taker that is in the meeting. So this should be kind of grabbing everything as we're going through it. And 11 a.m., we are live. So the very first thing, I want to go into security, and security is something that a lot of people don't really want to deal with. And I'd say they kind of ignore or kind of pretend it's not an issue. Security is definitely the first thing that you should be worried about with your business. Basically, your brand is your presence. It is your integrity. It's everything. Just as an example, I had a client a long time ago that didn't take that so seriously. And around Christmas time, after we had trended about 15 times for a holiday season, they shifted gears completely and did something that had to do with blockchain and Bitcoin. They had never done this before. And basically, in turn, a lot of people thought that the page got hacked. And then many people signed off and unsubscribed and unfollowed. So again, to me, security is one of the most important things. So again, to kind of get the format rolling here, what do you need to know for 2024 about security? If you do not have two-step turned on any of your accounts, you are literally begging to get hacked. And again, it's so easy. There's a thing called Authy. That's AUTHY.com, Authy. It's free to sign up. There's also Google Authenticator. I don't like Google Authenticator as much as Authy. To me, Authy is easier. It works with basically everything. And what it is, it's a program that goes on your phone, on your desktop, on your tablet, and it generates two-step codes on the fly. Some places won't allow that. Some places will force you to use SMS. And honestly, their IT people are not so good to do that, but it is what it is. Without tangenting this too far, there's an issue called SIM jacking, SIM jacking, like the SIM card in your phone. And basically, if your phone did get SIM jacked, they now can pretend to be your phone. So you think that you're so secure and you think that everything's good because of your two-step being set up, but now they're getting the codes, they bypass that. And then secondarily, one of the most important things, try not to log in with Google, with Facebook, because if any of those things got hacked, you've now given them access through that. So let's say, again, I'm a bad hacker. I want to get into your Facebook and you use Facebook to log into online shopping platforms, your credit cards. And again, most banks are smart enough that they won't do that. But again, just as a good rule of thumb, again, two-step on everything. Don't use social media logins. Try to use secure passwords. We'll segue next into passwords. I really like LastPass and 1Password. There's a bunch of other ones, KeepPass. There's the one in Google Chrome. Obviously, people with Apple devices, Keychain. I will say, even with all of that, I still use LastPass on a daily basis. I want to say it's $3 a month. You can share it with anyone. So literally in that sense, you can get like a family plan. Maybe that's $4 or $5 a month. And then you can share logins. Again, as far as your brand in 2024, why is that important? If you have a manager of your business, rather than you guys constantly texting, emailing, social media, all of these insecure methods to give people those passwords, by using LastPass, you could make it it's already encrypted. And basically, if a password was updated, everyone who is in the share queue would automatically get it. So I don't have to give you my password over and over and over again. Again, I think security is probably the most important thing that you should start with, and making sure, and again, just little tidbits, we'll go deeper into social media, but make sure that, for example, you don't have a ton of people. Let's say it's a restaurant. You don't want 50 employees that all have admin access to your page. Now, maybe there's 5 or 10. And again, my little Bradism that I say with clients, if they would have the alarm code or a key to your business, okay, sure, I would still give them an editor role. As a business owner, and I don't care what the business is, you could be an artist starting out, hand making something, to $1 million already successful business. It's international. You really want to think, and again, what would a corporate company do? They would not give access to every single person in the company admin roles. Oftentimes clients will give me admin access, and many times that has kind of saved their butt. If, say, their Facebook got hacked because they didn't have two-step on, and now I was literally the only one that was still on the page. Without that, access would then be lost. And again, try getting a human support at Meta. It's fun. It's possible, but it's definitely a pain in the butt. Beyond that, things that are good for security, for sure, make sure that you have SSL on your website. And what that means is when you're looking at your website, it's going to be HTTPS, not HTTP. And without nerding out and making the eyes glaze over too much on that, basically that means that your visitors to your website, your customers, your clients, their visit is then encrypted. So basically that data is more secure. That is definitely one of the first things. And then again, one of the bigger, I would say this is something I've seen many people kind of, make mistakes of. Don't have clients text you credit cards or checks, or in any way that you can, don't take data that could get stolen. There was a case up here. So I'm back up in Detroit right now. And there was, I want to say it was a tattoo studio, and they threw out tons of customers' information in the trash, and then someone found it. And there you go. Now you have an identity theft case, and all these people upset because you risk their data. To me, if you eliminate that risk, for one, of course, you're covering your butt and protecting your business. But again, if I try to put myself in my customer's shoes, one of the later sections is also like newsletters and SMSs. Would it annoy you if you got 50 emails a day? Of course it would. So try to think from your customer standpoint. How can you keep them happy? How can you take care of them? How can you respect their data? We're trusting you enough to get it. And God knows there's more than enough spam in the world. Don't be one of those people BCCing people with 50 in the chain or even in the 2 chain. And now I see everyone else's email. There are so many great tools, and that's really what I'm excited to kind of share with you guys. So next, let's go into websites. Why do you need a website? I had a client lead once that had a family member that worked at Facebook, and they were just very, very firm on, I don't need a website. Everyone's on social media. Social media is not your friend. I've had a client, even just as one quick example, that was very dependent on social media. They ended up losing access to their profile, a couple thousand. I want to say it was like 3,000 or 4,000. And then in that, it hurt the business dramatically because there was no email list. There was no SMS list. Basically, they were dependent. And again, I would say all of these entities, they need us and we kind of need them, but we are seen as very disposable to them. Do you think Facebook really cares if they ban your page? There's already, 8 million other people. So, and in that sense, again, this kind of relates to security. The more that you can have your own dependence on yourself, your own sovereignty in your data, you're only making sure that no matter what happens, if the website got hacked, well, we have an offline backup. If your social media got hacked, well, we convert our customers' data into a CRM, a client relationship manager. And again, a lot of this can get overwhelming quickly because there's so many acronyms and CRM and SEO and AI and SEM and all this different stuff. But at the end of the day, really what I would say it comes down to, it's so easy to find anything that you can imagine on YouTube or Google rather than watching cat videos. I would suggest even trying to spend maybe 30 minutes or an hour once a week and looking up at these, especially with AI. Things are going so quickly with it. And again, I've tried so many different things out. And I'll say one of the benefits, one thing I love about my business, I get to work with so many different types of people, so many different niches. Anything you can name, if it's legal, I've probably worked with it and marketed it successfully. And in that sense, if you can find ways to save time, I think what really happens for a lot of businesses, and especially when it comes down to marketing, people don't take the time to market themselves because it's overwhelming. I got to take pictures. Now I got to learn how to use this camera. Now I got to learn how to edit the photos. Now I got to learn how to edit my website and become a web designer. And again, with the tools that are out, yes, Photoshop is the industry standard, but you know how many people I see using Canva and their stuff looks great. And you know what? They're active. And could we have done it in Photoshop with a graphic designer? Yeah, I guess. But again, I would rather you be active on Canva and pumping stuff out 3 to 5 times a week instead of, this blistering effect with Photoshop and it takes a month to get 2 or 3 things out. That's not effective. And that is a big part of how I really try to run my business. I try to template things with my clients. So in that sense, if I can set you up for success and make it a little bit easier, one thing that I've been doing with all of my people that are in the onion, for the Ben Stiller joke of the movie, I have a lot of clients that book an hour a week with me. And something that we've been doing, we've been automating ChatGPT through a thing called make.com and using Google Sheets. So I've been able to generate hundreds of blog post titles, and then I'll slowly SEO and modify them through that. And again, I'll say it's not perfect. There is some babysitting that needs to be done. You have to make sure that everything is right before you go and turn it on auto fire and just pump out 1,000 blog posts. But the point being, these need to be edited. They're definitely drafts. This isn't turnkey stuff. But I have so many clients that have told me through the years that, like, even, blogging and writing your blog, that is too much work. They don't have time to do it. They don't know what they want to say. And again, to me, we are in a world now, and I know we're jumping all over, but this is an important point as far as how do you centralize this? How do you make this easier to manage? You really need to make sure that you're just making part of your daily business part of this. You should be providing value. You should be sharing insights. Why is your brand the clear choice for us? And be honest with that. I don't want to work with everyone. I don't want to build everyone's website. Thank you. Christina brought me coffee. Thank you, Christina. The elixir of life, right, guys? So, God, I drink too much coffee. But the more that you can centralize everything and kind of make it manageable. And again, just to kind of give past client examples, if it's a restaurant, don't go and book a day where you have to make every dish. That doesn't make sense. Instead, try to find a way where you're not going to go and waste food. And as you make them, go through the menu. I've done things where, like, I was doing a photo shoot at a client in Naples, and basically as they made menu dishes, I knocked out half of their menu in, 4 or 5 hours that I was there taking pictures of models. We had another client that was doing custom high-end shoes. She brought that. She got photos out of it. So literally in one shoot, I was able in an afternoon to take care of 5 people instead of just one. I think there's ways that we can exponentially make our efficiency higher. And again, technology is a tool. I will say the other day I was cooking, and I hate cooking. Man, I hate cooking. And the people that are amazing at cooking, I've so often found, don't like technology. But that's it. Just as much as I need to learn the recipe and learn to use the Instapot. And it's one of those things, all of this stuff, there's a method to it. I remember my grandpa, when I was a kid, saying that, like, you can work on your car. You can. And again, this man, he poured his own basement. He added on extensions to the houses. I remember as a kid working with him on concrete, electrical, plumbing, and he always was very firm. And again, was he the best at all of that? No, he was definitely a jack of all trades. But in that sense, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this stuff out. And if you can even add one thing, if you get one thing from this meeting and add that to your business, I know it will help. And again, that's why I want to do this. And again, I'm trying to throw tidbits out there. So getting back to websites and why are websites important? To me, a website is the most valuable asset that a business can have digitally. Now you're going to say, well, you're a web designer, Brad. Of course you'd say that. The car salesman's going to sell a car. I hear you. I get that. But even just from a sense, if you bought a domain name, I like namecheap.com. Namecheap is usually the best deal. They usually have something going for like $5.98 for the first year. Sometimes it'll, be dependent on buying 2 years, whatever. Sales change and come and go. Black Friday is coming. So if you're looking to do anything, now is prime time for the absolute best deals of the year. But again, having your own website, why is that better than social media? Social media, I'm going to see a guitar and a motorcycle and a pretty girl and everything else that distracts me from what I'm actually looking at. Literally, they're going to show me your competitors while I'm looking at your social media. How is that going to help you now? And yeah, I hope your content's amazing. I hope you have the best videos and the best food, the best whatever it is. But in that sense, to me, if you can get them off of social media, the chances of converting them are so much higher. And a lot of people will say that like, oh, SEO doesn't matter. That's a classic, turn down in a sales pitch. I will say I am very blessed and grateful. I haven't really tried to sell a website in a long time. The last time I walked into a business to actually try to sell a website was like 2018. We were taking care of my grandma. Funny enough, that client went on to rank #1 for 600 terms. Yay. But in turn, if you talk about what you do, I'm always saying web design, web design, web design. Half of the people in the Zoom already did their website, working on a website for him right now. And it's like, it's something that I built my reputation in that. And I will say web design can be intimidating. I don't love easy site builders like Squarespace, like Wix, like Weebly. And I will say I'm a little bit of a snob on this stuff. If you were a Ferrari mechanic, are you going to be okay working on a Geo Metro or a Honda Civic? No, you're not. I'm going to be a snob. I can't help it. That's inherent. When you go to that level, you can't help but see that. Why do I like WordPress over things like that? So first, let's say Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, GoDaddy, Insta Site Builder, all of those, to me, the baby site builders, if you will. They're okay and they do work. And again, if you were coming to me with a project, let's say it was going to be a 20-hour build. If you already had built your content up in that, that's better than nothing. And if that gets you off the ground, then those have their place. But in almost 10 years in April of doing this, I have never once seen someone with a Wix, Weebly, Squarespace site that actually performed in the way that it could, to where it showed up for what they do, where they do it, to where it was generating organic traffic to justify it. Those are the clients that usually don't have a budget for a website. Well, you know why? Because you're not putting yourself out there. Christina did dog training, and I remember something she said that's kind of stuck with me. So often the people that need it most are the ones that can't afford it. And that's it. They've got this big aggressive dog and now they can't afford to train it. Right. And that sucks for the dog. So, and that kind of goes back to why I want to do this. WordPress is honestly not that hard. One client who's actually in here, I've worked on a consulting basis with, hello, Mr. 3D printer. And I love this guy's, his hands-on ability. And I say a lot of clients, they get intimidated at first, but again, whatever you can imagine. Okay, you're using Elementor for WordPress. You're using Visual Composer. There are so many tutorials on YouTube. Look at the comments, see what people are saying. And again, is it going to be perfect? Is it the same thing as going taking a class at a community college or something? No, of course not. But it's free. It's literally free. And anything you can name, if you go to YouTube and Google it, there's usually a solution you can find. I myself do it, even with experience, where it's like, hey, wait, let me see. Is there any other abstract way I haven't thought? Last week I had something. I was doing an RSS feed. So basically a WordPress website creates an RSS feed. Anything that you post to it can then be automated to share through a newsletter. So again, I don't care what your business is. Anything you talk about 3 to 5 times a week, you could now be automating that. I get a weekly digest updating me on that via my email subscription. And again, if that's valuable information, if you're giving something away, people will want that. Now, that's not the same as like, hey, we're desperate. Here's a sale, half off websites. Oh my God, we're going out of business. Not that. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying more in the sense of like, if I can tell you why I do what I do, it justifies it. And again, even in this sense, most of these things that I'm talking about, I've literally told hundreds of clients through the years. So by me creating videos and just putting out what I know, this is effortless. I don't even have to think about it. It's like, okay, you should have a website. You should have an RSS feed. You don't have a newsletter? Go to MailChimp right now and go sign up. It's free. And then it's, I think, $15 a month for up to 2,000 contacts. And use Never Bounce, and you can get rid of all the spam emails. And again, there's all these different tools, but if we don't start somewhere, if we don't generate an email list, if we don't actually give our business what it is, I love the saying, a failure to have a marketing budget is like opening a business and not telling anyone about it. And again, you could say, well, you sell marketing, so of course you'll say that. But to me, even if you're doing it for free for yourself, even 30 minutes to an hour a week, don't neglect your business. Especially if you're working for yourself. I feel like all of us entrepreneurs, I remember my old bass player, he said his dad was like, oh, you have to be a little bit crazy to work for yourself. He's not wrong. The long hours, the sacrifice of all of your free time. Many times, I remember 10 years ago, I would be at big music events and I'd be chipping away on my laptop, And I'm sure some of you guys probably remember me from those days. But again, that dedication pays off. And eventually, I can't imagine working for someone else. I feel like eventually when it does turn into a dream, if you love animals, go be a vet. If you hate dogs, well, then don't be a vet. I can't imagine people that, aren't working with something that they're passionate about. Like, how do you get up in the morning? I need a lot more coffee to, to do something I didn't love doing. So back to websites. And again, what is the most important thing with a website? To me, the website really should be the 24/7 salesman of your brand. I love it if there's a video of you. As soon as I get there, show me who you are, show me what you do. And maybe the big picture, and again, I can overwhelm people quickly with this. I want a video for every one of your services. Okay, well, that's going to take time to do. Start somewhere. Start with a homepage introduction where you say, hey, this is me. This is why I do this. And this is what's different about my offering than everyone else. And again, a lot of marketing is being, the thin line between cocky and confident. I would say in that, though, being honest and real with it. What don't you do? I don't do, adult sites. I don't do anything. I will stop getting legitimate businesses if I did a bunch of questionable stuff. I've had many clients tell me that was why they chose to work with me, because of that moral compass. You're not going to see a strip club in my portfolio. And again, if I wanted something like a childcare place, that absolutely makes sense of why they wouldn't want to hire that person. But I think in that, if you can really find your authenticity, you can find ways that, like I said, literally just talking about it, it works. Let's kind of go a little bit into social media. Websites can automatically share to social media, which again is, to me, is beautiful. Why wouldn't we do that? That's genius. Let's say you have blog posts. Let's say you use ChatGPT and now you're helping yourself generate a 300 to a 700 word blog post. Now we automate through Jetpack. So Jetpack is a free plugin for WordPress, where now it would share that blog post to your Facebook, to your LinkedIn, to your Instagram. I think they give you 30 free shares for like a month, a little over a month, and they try to nag you to pay, but whatever. But again, even for free to start with that stuff, that is a way that you can start streamlining this. You can start getting the information out there. And all that's going to do is prove to people you know what you're talking about. And guess what? In turn, if they need what you offer at the right time, it works. Now, that's kind of an interesting point. Like when I have a lot of restaurants as clients, when I'm marketing a restaurant, I share the image of the big savory burger at 11:38 a.m. Now, why do I do that? Because it's right before lunch and then you're going to be hungry. And like, that's easy enough. Well, what about a haircut? You don't need a haircut every single day. You don't need, say, a website. What if you just bought one? There's certain things that you have to align with their customer journey. And I think that is important. And I will say a lot of clients in the past have gotten almost disheartened in that. Well, it's like, again, if I looked at it like that, how many people I've had that just spent $5,000 on a website and now they're broke and they don't have anything to, and it's like, it is what it is. But again, it doesn't matter. If I build that relationship and you see my expertise in it, in 6 months or a year, or you close that big deal. Someone in here right now, we're just about to start your project and this happens. So this is a perfect example. When it builds up, when they are ready, they're going to come back. And to me, I think that is one of the most important things that our generation is losing. And I don't, not to say an age bracket, I'm saying the world, society in 2023, 2024, social media has brought us so close together, but in turn, we're all isolated in our little bubble and we don't build those relationships. Instead, it's almost like this narcissistic, let me pump stuff out. So again, like I love asking people, like, please. And if you guys have questions, throw them in the chat. What are your marketing questions? What do you need help with? What are you struggling on? What doesn't make sense to you? What are you not sure of? What are you scared to invest in? And if it's specific to your niche, that's fine. I'll try to relate it to everyone too. But okay, going back to social media. Social media is, in my eyes, and my little Bradism, it's the open sea. Yes, all the fish are there. But I would say more importantly, what my idea in social media marketing, and I learned this from a PR company, find ways to basically leverage those communities in it. If you're selling custom car parts for a modification group, it would be very easy and smart to go into, say, that specific group. I love our Subaru and I'm in a modded group for it. And actually one of the guys in here, hello, he's selling his parts there. And again, you're going to a group of 3,000 to 5,000 people that are already interested or somewhat biased. Back when I was still cool, had hair and did music. Hey, see the guitars. Everyone said I sounded like the guy from Alice in Chains, Lane Staley, amazing singer. That's a huge, I'm not as good as him at all, but, and that I would market around that. I would go find people and like, hey, I know you like Alice in Chains. So if I go and message people that already like Alice in Chains and then be like, hey, what do you think of my music? They're psychologically biased to then probably like it. I'm just reading some of the questions. That is a very good question about AI, Aomi. I am a marketer and a content creator worried about AI replacing my role. What skills do us marketers in this boat need to hone the most? I would say 1000% use AI. Don't be afraid of it. That's like being afraid of, fuel injection and you're a carburetor mechanic in the 60s. And I've been using this analogy a lot lately. And a lot of people have said this. If I were a writer, I would be terrified. You would have to be, seriously, you'd have to have the amazing connections where you're already in with the publishers. That would be a terrifying place to be, is just as a writer. And I have a few friends that are in that boat. Again, I still say AI can be amazing. I had a client, and I think he's in here, a photographer out in California. He actually wrote a story that's turning into a book solely using ChatGPT. I use it for letters, and if I need something, okay, make this sound more professional. That way you can kind of take yourself out of it. Now you're not being emotional writing your reply. You can make ChatGPT basically be the perfect secretary. Now, in the same, yes, AI has some problems. AI was later, but that's a good point to jump into. It can integrate with your WordPress website. You can use it for social media. I think what I don't like about AI is that it is, this is a very, I don't want to say the word that I'm thinking. It's very much so hurting artists. Let me put it like that. I would use a word that starts with R, but it's inappropriate, so I won't say it. It's basically taking the essence of what artists are. In the same, so did Photoshop. Photoshop did the exact same thing, because with Photoshop, you now didn't have to learn how to be an expert in the darkroom. But again, there's many people that have never touched an actual, an actual negative film camera, but they're amazing photographers and they use Photoshop and Lightroom all day. So again, these are tools. It is evolving. There's nothing you can do to change that. In the same, there are many sources saying that within 2 to 5 years, major corporate companies will have heads of AI. So basically, if you're not using this technology now, the person that's 5 or 10 years younger than you that doesn't have your experience, that doesn't have your portfolio, arguably they might go against you in your job role and get it because they're staying up to date with this technology. So again, even if it's scary, even if it's unsettling, I would say AI is not going anywhere. And again, I do think at some point there will be regulations around it, and it's definitely affecting things like SEO. But again, if I was already good at SEO, there was a time that I hired about 40 subcontract writers to go and generate blog posts. And when I was doing that, it absolutely was like pulling teeth. 3 of 40 people actually did as I asked and actually got me the content timely. And now with ChatGPT, I can bang out 1,000 blog posts, drafts that need to be edited. Guess what? The writer stuff needed to be edited too. But literally in 4 hours, I can come up with 4 years of blog posts. So again, to me, it's one of those things. I hate that that kind of is a, if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. But again, if you put your human element in, if you still stay organic, if you absolutely edit it and make it in your voice, use it as a starting point. Pretend you have an 18-year-old assistant that shows up an hour late and they gave you this as their notes. It is plagiarized. We know it's plagiarized. That's what partly it is. And someone else, and we're jumping around here, I use ChatGPT for research on my clients' competitors. I use it to pull their reviews and cons so I can write up pros. That is awesome. And I love that. And I think in a big way, ChatGPT, let's just kind of, without nerding out too deep on this, it organically is generating text. So literally it's going and instantly, and it's amazing because it's not that big of software. It's amazing how much this technology has developed so quickly. It's going and finding things and then creating its own original new text out of it. Now, sometimes it does get a little, I don't want to say plagiarize isn't really the right word, but it's like plagiarism where it's close to it. Where it would be is if it's like a figure of speech. Any of my little Bradisms, if it found that and then it compares it, you could then go and Google that. And then you'd be like, wait a sec, this Brad guy's been talking about carburetors and fuel injection for a long time. So if you, another web designer, were then doing that, you could then be ripping off of me, right? So again, if you're keeping your voice strong in it though, there's ways to use it for what it is and then still find ways to make it yourself. There's also some tools. Another really good one that I like is called wordai.com. So wordai.com. They have a thing called avoid AI detection. And again, whenever there's a lock, the bad guys will go and make a pick. As any technology that grows, this one comes up, this one comes to fight it. That's an inevitability of it. That's the same with security, the same with home security, you name it. So avoid AI detection basically looks for plagiarized points and helps you find ways to make it a non-issue. That being said, again, I still stress you have to edit it. And anyone that complains about AI, I feel like that's kind of a thing where like, oh, it's just all plagiarized. And like, it is, but were you going to write anything? Were you going to make 5 blog posts a week? Probably not, right? You're going to do like one every 2-3 weeks. So if this even gives you the jump start to start doing it, back to one of the original points of this, you have to start somewhere. I would love it if you get so successful and you have time to actually do it. What was the other? Word AI. And that is a paid one. You do have to pay for Word AI. Word AI is basically a rewriter that uses stuff out of ChatGPT. Another one that I like is Article Forge. They're kind of expensive. I was spending about, I don't know, $5,000 to $8,000 a year total if I added up all my stuff. And honestly, now that I'm using ChatGPT, I've eliminated some of those. ChatGPT at $20 a month blows Article Forge out of the water. There was one called Jasper, which although it is my son's name, I will say I am very disimpressed with and did not like them. But again, ChatGPT, I would say, is the main one in Word AI. Just going on the next one really quick. Someone was asking about click per pay. So click per pay or pay per click, Google ads, Facebook. And again, this applies to social media. It applies to search engines. I hate click per pay. Let me say that loudly. I hate click per pay. Click per pay is a waste of money. Click per pay is great if you have an endless budget and you literally just want to take $100 bills and just burn them. Now, in the same, can you make money with it? Yes, you can. But I've literally seen people waste tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it. And then they're surprised that they haven't built a pipeline. Well, of course you hadn't. You literally went out and again, I use a lot of dating analogies and marketing in it. My little nerdy Rico Suave, right? Click per pay is basically just going up to people, and it's almost like a dirty one night stand where you're not building a relationship with that client. And I feel like in that sense, if you can focus more, again, getting them to follow, getting them to engage, seeing the value in what you provide. Now, click per pay has its place. Google ads do have a place. Facebook ads do have a place. I had a client last season that I got to trend that launched a new product, and we were able to generate a lot of sales with click per pay. It made about 30 grand in a month. And I would guess they probably spent like 2 or 3 grand. So a 10-fold return on investment's not bad, right? That being said, a lot of times when I look at people's click per pay, I would say literally 70 to 90% of the time, people's click per pay targeting is horrible. For example, I'm going to use music as an analogy. My inner used to want to be a rock star, right? But in that sense, a lot of times what people will do is they'll be like, oh, well, I want everyone who likes metal music. Well, you like Five Finger Death Punch. I don't like Five Finger Death Punch. I think that is the most inauthentic plastic metal that there is. I like things more like, I love Meshuggah and their weird time signatures. We're going to go there. This is a metalhead thing now, right? But again, if you're marketing to everyone that is metal, you're going to be showing me pop metal that has nothing to do with what I like. So to me, again, it goes back to that authenticity. You need to think it's like playing Jeopardy. And I would say that's a very good point on SEO and click per pay. What is your ideal customer searching for? That's what you target. Don't try to get everybody. Stop trying to be everything to everyone. Who would love what you do? How can you get what you're offering in front of them and not the other stuff? So you kind of cut through the pulp, and it's not so, and that's what I mean. You don't want 1,000 people that may buy. I want 100 people that will buy. You'll see that your numbers greatly increase. And again, it's a flash in the pan. Whatever you pay is what's going to make money. With Google ads versus social media, Diane, are Google ads and similar modes a better investment than social media? I personally would say I don't like click per pay at all. I will literally talk until I'm blue in the face, telling people, no, do SEO, no, do blog posts, no, create content, go hire a photographer, get pro photos, make videos, do all of that. The problem with click per pay, again, is as soon as you stop paying, that river is going to run dry. I personally do pretty well when I do my click per pay for people, but it's always on that's nitrous on the already fast engine. I'm not trying to go win the race with a crappy car and put nitrous. That to me is what people try to do so often with click per pay, because then it is a waste of time and money. And again, if instead it was focusing on, and again, SEO, my little Bradism, SEO to me is like building an apple orchard versus going and buying apples every time at Sam's Club. And yeah, you can still make apple pies, but my apple orchard is going to make them for generations. If Sam's Club stopped having them tomorrow, that person would then be screwed. Someone said, can we make another Google Maps page? I would not. Yes and no. You absolutely can. You can absolutely have multiple businesses at one business location. I don't like really doing that. To me, anything that you divide as far as marketing, you shouldn't have 5 websites. You're probably going to have trouble updating one. Now, when you have 5 blog posts going out a week, okay, well, then you've proved me wrong. Now you're ready for that. But it's something that you're basically creating competition for yourself. It's like we have a race with 100 cars and you're like, well, I'm going to have 5 cars in the race because that increases my chances, right? Well, kind of, but did you put all the same money into that? What if we put all 5 cars value into one and now we blew everyone away? Wouldn't that be better? I think getting one listing strong, one website, same thing with social media. Please, God, don't. And realtors are notorious for this. I love my realtors, but only get about 1,500 invites for realtor pages a month. And often it'll be different. There's one for Naples, one for Fort Myers, one for, and it's like, no, that's not what it is. Instead, build your value. This is definitely an SEO point, but I would say it applies to everything. Google now is looking for authorship. They're looking for authenticity. They're looking for relevant info. Oftentimes now, Google using AI, because again, everything's growing and changing here. Google is literally using information that you provide on your website and showing it directly in the search results. So that means if you're not providing valuable info, if you're not doing what I'm doing right now and giving something away, if you're not doing that, basically what happens, Google will not index you. Your competition that is, and again, and call us today to get started. Now you've lost them. That is something else. And when I was 18, I managed an AT&T store. I very much so upset the company. Yay. Big old corporate monsters, making us sell text messaging packages to little old ladies. They were mad at me because I was the #1 sales guy in the state of Florida. How did I do that? Well, I was hungry as one, and I really wanted a cool motorcycle. Got to have those goals, right? But what I did is I would literally go and contact realtors, small businesses. And I would tell people, look, come in. I can save you money. I know I can save you money. And if I can't, worst case comes, at least we looked at everything and we made sure. And sure enough, they'd be spending $1,200 on all of their, staff phones. They'd come in, I'd switch it over. We'd end up cutting their bill in half. And guess what? Now they liked me and I got the commission on all those sales. Corporate didn't like that I was stepping on the corporate stores. You're not supposed to do that in a retail store, I guess. Should have offered me a job at corporate. But in that sense, by being, and again, that's a little aggressive. And I will say I'm a tad bit aggressive. One, I think she's in, one client up here who owns a coffee shop. I love how she says it. Be as aggressive as you can be without seeming like you don't care. And I feel like that is a perfect way to say it, where it's like, I'm going to use every tool that I can. And I'm going to do it as much as I can without spamming you and annoying you, because if I annoy you, you're going to leave. And then that doesn't do me any good. I've been having people use Chat GPT to reply to Google reviews. And literally, I'll copy and paste your review. I'll say, pretend to be this person. So pretend to be Brad replying to the review left by so-and-so and thank them for their business. So-and-so left a 5-star review and said, and then Chat GPT will go and write you a long form reply that more than likely you never would have taken the time to actually do the reply for. And again, Google Maps is a great way to help affect things. If you ever look up something, what you do, where you do it, and whether you have a local business or not, maybe you're an artist, it doesn't matter. Go to Google, type in whatever, haircut, your city, burger, your city. If you're in Naples, you can find my client. But when you do that, there's the map listing, and off of the map listing, you'll also find web results. Web results are what are affected by SEO. You really can't change the map listing. You can affect it, but we don't have as much control of that. That is based on reviews, based on replying, based on social media authorship, Google wants to see that you're legitimate. They want to see that there's a real person behind things. They want to see, again, value. It's so much about value. And I honestly love that. And I think anyone that doesn't like that, those were the crappy people that just wanted to spam us back in the 90s when people would put, 4 million, they'd put Gucci and Prada and Nike on some crappy shoes that they were selling just to get the traffic on it. Don't be inauthentic. If you're being so laser focused on exactly what you're offering, like I was saying before about that, I don't want 1,000 people that might want it. I want 100 that do want it. Your numbers will increase. Kevin, what social media apps do you feel are the most effective? That is definitely a hard question because it's different for every business. If you had something with fashion, well, then Instagram is great. If you were with a younger generation, well, Snapchat and TikTok are great. If you're in Naples and most of your clients are my parents' generation's age, well, then no, they don't want to be on Snapchat or TikTok. So it definitely is very centralized. Social media is a very divided place. And again, I honestly don't like social media. If I didn't need it, I would be off of it and I would be a hermit in the woods. If I ever create my $1 million product and I disappear from social media, that's where I went, guys. Love you. I'm in the mountains. Let me do my thing. Drinking coffee and playing guitar. Facebook to me is definitely the big one still. It hasn't died yet. And I feel like all of us marketers are kind of waiting for that to happen. We're waiting for Facebook to go MySpace. Well, now there's Space Hey, and they brought back that, and a lot of DJs and artists and bands are doing that. I would say when I have a client, and I'm thinking of someone from last year that was a good example because we basically were everywhere. Twitter was great for an NFT market, but a lot of people aren't liking that now because of political reasons. And again, for certain business types, that does matter. I try to be as unbiased as I can. And, I try to be an alien and forget all of our humanism in it, which in some ways is hard, as I think of the Bill Hicks quote on, on marketing. But in that sense, if your business is politicized, if you have something that, very much so is in a niche, that's a no-brainer that you would market to a group where that is, right? And without trying to give examples in that, anything that you can think of that, say, a crowd on the left wouldn't like, don't go and market to a platform that is primarily right-leaning. That's just common sense, right? You'd be surprised, though, how often I see people do that. Going, again, back to the guy that was doing the 3D printing, by selling it to a car parts group that you already know has the car that you're selling, you know that they're going to buy it because you're already predisposed to what I'm selling you. And I think a lot of that, and I took a little psychology in school, I feel like that's really what it comes down to. You're going up to someone at the wrong time. You're selling them in the wrong way. You're going up to them and screaming, "Hey, you're hot." That doesn't work. And in the classic marketing thing, always be closing. And this is one of my little Bradisms that I've said to endless clients, always ask the pretty girl for her number. I feel like a lot of times what businesses do wrong, they'll go up to the girl, they'll talk to her. "Oh my God, you guys love the same music, the same food. You love traveling. You both love dogs. Okay, great." And then we just walk away. And then what happens? No sale happens. So literally on my sites, I try to make sure that every single page is a closing pitch. Every time you communicate someone, "So can I get you started today?" And again, don't be so aggressive that you come off as the sleazy car salesman. Obviously, no one likes that. But in the same, make sure that you are offering to close the deal. And again, a lot of this, we're not reinventing the wheel. With e-commerce, you always see people doing, "Give me your email, I'll give you 10% off, blah, blah, blah." But it's something that it works. And that impulsive buy is a psychological pull. How can I get more Google reviews for a client that is a one and done service? I have clients that insist on click per pay. Some people don't get it. And again, I try to educate everybody. If you're going to fight me, I'm not going to work with you. And it's one of those things. I can hear my grandpa saying they have more money than brains then. Ooh, is that mean? Sorry. But in that sense, yeah, click per pay works, but you're throwing away 5 to 10 grand. If you paid me once that amount, I would have built a website. And again, when people say they're not patient for SEO, they just haven't worked with a good SEO guy. I have a kayak company up here. We started it in May. By July 1st, she was ranking #1 for all of her new terms. That's with a brand new domain, a brand new business, competing against a partner that had left. And again, without saying more than I'm supposed to, it's not 6 months to a year for SEO to work in niches that Google doesn't like. I had one client that Google definitely did not like because of what they did, and it was fully legal. But again, Google just didn't like it for what it is. It took 28 days to get them to rank. Usually I've seen results happen in search results shifting in about 24 to 72 hours, a week at the most. But again, if the SEO person isn't good, there's a reason that's happening. And it's one of those things. I will gladly educate people. I will gladly, and I'll throw it in. We had an hour Zoom and I'll throw you 15 minutes in of trying to explain it to you. But if someone's fighting you, and I'm sorry to be this is my personality coming out. Those are the clients I don't want to work with. I can help you, but it's like you're going to a doctor and the doctor's sitting there telling you to stop smoking. And you're like, "Well, but I don't want to get lung cancer." Well, I can't help you then, dude. I told you, stop. Listen, this is what it is. It's one of those things that I think in a big way, you can only help people that really want to be helped, that are ready to be helped. And again, with a business, they need to trust you. I have a lot of times, I have a lead right now. And the marketing person loves me and is ready to move forward. The CEO isn't so convinced yet. So they want, client testimonials. They want to see reviews. Again, though, that to me is providing value. I have all 5-star reviews. All of those businesses are legitimate, real. You can go and look them up. You can walk into 98% of them. You can go and see it. Go ask them if Brad's any good at what he does. And if I would almost guarantee all of them are going to say, "Oh my God, we love him. He's great." Because, and again, I feel like if you always, over deliver, I feel like you can build those relationships. And I've said many times, if I can get you to rank, you're going to send me leads. You're going to tell your friends that have businesses about it. And they're gonna be like, "Well, I want to show up #1 on Google for what I do." And I don't care what it is. If it's a haircut and you look great, guess what? Their friends are gonna be like, "Oh, well, wow, you looked really good after that. I need a haircut." Well, I don't need a haircut, right? But I used to need haircuts. But I think, again, you really have to find your authenticity. And even, again, maybe you can't afford a website. Maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you're starting on a Squarespace website. Start putting it out there. I've had many clients that I've kind of worked as like a coach with, And even in that sense, just start somewhere. You have to start. Even if it's your phone, go do a live video today and go talk about, hey, this is what I do. This is why I do it. This is why I'm passionate about it. This is why I choose to wake up and do this. And I will say, I don't really like when people complain. I feel like that's a turn off, right? Like, again, it's a dating thing. No one wants to date someone that's sitting there complaining about, well, all people are, and my ex, and then it's like, okay, all right. I would say try to always stay on the positive, or if anything, if there is an inherent negative that is inevitable, COVID sucked. No one's going to say that COVID was good. I will say it absolutely did help my business. Many people that I told for years that they needed online ordering, they called me and they were like, hey, wait a sec. I know I told you it wasn't important, but we can't have people dine in anymore. We need online ordering now, please. Tomorrow, can you do it? When can you get us in? And again, why did they come? Because I had built that relationship. This is a music streaming question. I have an understanding that an email list is important to generate income by promoting the product. Knowing I generate content on the daily through socials, how would the website build with your skill set? Okay. So I will say music is a fun one. And I have a DJ friend in Europe that we kind of, we bicker about this friendly, but we go back and forth and he's like, oh, well, that's not important. I get it. And I will say, okay, maybe for that, you can say that you would rather get Spotify followers or something. I definitely think that is important to figure out. That goes back to social media. What social media is the most important one? Well, obviously for a musician, as bad as Spotify is and horrible they are about paying their royalties, they suck for that. Oh my God, I wish musicians would stand up and boycott them, but we can't. It is what it is. Half people are listening on Pandora, Spotify, etc. Right? So, I mean, it's one of those things. You do need to use that. In the same, I have a friend who trended on TikTok, uploading a video there, and they got 900,000 streams in a matter of days for using some silly platform. Oh, and I made a stupid little dance and whatever. But again, it's one of those things that I think you have to use whatever is at your disposal. To me, what I would say for a musician, back when I was still doing mine, I had about 3,500 people on my email list. The majority of them were not in the United States, could not come to my shows. But you know what? The second I put a song up, they would download it. They would go and comment. They would interact. They would share it. A lot of them bought t-shirts. So I found a way I built an army out of it. And my little Bradism, I would say that's your cult following. Those are the people that love you. And if anything, and again, this works for whatever the business is. You're a retail store. When you get a new product, go ahead and make a video about it. You're a musician. Okay, cool. It's a new lyric video, whatever it is. If you were pumping that stuff out and you had that cult following, if you built those relationships, you fostered it. I gave the music to those people. I literally I could have made money on it. 3,000 people, say $1 a song, say 10% of them bought it. That's $3,000 a month. I could have paid my bills with that at 18 very easily, but I didn't. I gave it away. But by doing that, I built that relationship with them and I kept them coming back for more. And that's how I ended up getting 500,000 hits as a very anti-commercial, my stuff was against the grain as you can possibly get. And I was pulling those numbers. So if I can do it with that, imagine if it was love songs in 4 chords and, not screaming at the top of your lungs. But again, I would say build your cult followers, be realistic with your niche. Not everyone is going to want to go sign up for new music. A lot of people do get kind of honed in for music, something just specific in that. And I would say this applies to all art forms. Copycatism kind of does help. And I'm not saying to copy people. I'm not saying I'm not going to go make Alice in Chains like music because I sound like him. I don't have to. If I sing my music, people always said, oh my God, you sound like Lane Staley. Can you sing Man in the Box? It was annoying. It was to the point where it was like, Jesus, okay, yes, I get it. But in the same, if you know that a niche works, I wouldn't have marketed to Pearl Jam fans. I marketed to who? To Alice in Chains fans, because I knew they would be biased to it. So I think if you can even find ways, and again, you could be on Reddit. It could be finding people that are promoters. Just to kind of wrap that part up, I feel like a lot of times I moved around a lot as a kid. So one of my another Bradism, the popular kids. If I throw a party and I go and sit down next to the popular kids, guess what? They all come. The next party I throw, everyone wants to come because they all talked about it. That works for business. Maybe you guys didn't move around a lot. Maybe you did. Tell me in the chat. But in that sense, I always found that at a couple schools, I befriended this one school in particular I'm thinking of. I befriended this one kind of punk guy, and I was the metal guy, but he was really cool, and we just hit it off. And I had so many friends at that school. Another school I went to, and I didn't really have that, and I was almost more of a loner because of that. And I feel like in a way, if you can find those quote popular kids in your niche And that could be influencers. That could be local. And when I say, local celebrity, I'm not saying Kardashian level, but I'm saying, I'm sure you can think of someone on Facebook right now, someone who's always out, who's constantly putting stuff out there. What if you went and had lunch with them? What if, and again, it's easy to say, well, go give them a free whatever. I can't go and build them a free website. I don't expect a massage therapist to go and give them a free massage every week. But even again, doing something like this, finding ways to give people, I could easily charge, I bill for all the stuff I'm telling you guys, I bill for people all the time. Is this hurting me by giving this out? Absolutely not. Because if one person gets value out of this, if you're getting value out of this, leave a note in the chat, right? If one person gets value out of that, then it was worth my time and I'm happy. Okay. Diane was asking again about the Google ads and Google reviews. Oh, yes. Google reviews. Very important. I would say you should always be asking for Google reviews. Some businesses, if you're a DJ, that doesn't really apply as much, right? That's more local business and service-based. I will say Google reviews are one of the best things you can get because you will start to get more organic traffic off of Google Maps, off of Google search results. It will help the things that SEO can't shift. How do you do it? You ask. When do I ask? I ask when I'm getting you number one on Google. If I got you ranking already and you're, oh my God, Brad, we're number one. I'm so excited. I love you. Well, hey, would you mind leaving me a 5-star Google review and telling everyone what you liked working about Solve Design Create and that kind of thing? Timing is a big part. I will say also, though, automating can be a very big thing. I had a beauty business that I worked with, and they had a program called Alfred, and we were able to integrate their Google reviews to it, and we got them 600 Google reviews in about 3 to 6 months. And again, the specific thing that they did, the women would come back a lot. It was something that there was a maintenance to it. So there was a lot of opportunities to go and ask for that review again. Completely on the contrary, I have a service business in Southwest Florida. It's an exterior cleaning business. And we automated something with his point of sale. And basically in that, we were able to, same thing, within a month, 300% increase on reviews. And it takes time. Google reviews take time. I would say I want the valuable ones. I want the good ones. People that go and leave you a 5-star review, like, yeah, I guess it's something, but really they should be taking the time to say, it was so great to work with blah, and I loved what they did for da, 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 and saying your keywords. That really does help. And paid reviews don't have your brother do one. Don't have your best friend do one. Google knows everything. We have zero privacy. It is as 1984 as it can possibly be. If you think you have a shred of privacy, like I can't help you with that then. But in that sense, they know if you go to Google Maps and search for that business. And as a local guide, it will literally nag me. Hey, Brad, you looked up blah, 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 blah. Businesses in California that I'm literally 2,000-3,000 miles away from. Do you want to leave a review? But it knows because I'm doing that. Again, without suggesting that you do anything dishonest, really what you would want to do is you would want people to go and look up your business. So go ahead, throw a party at your gallery, your store, or whatever it is, throw an event, and then ask everyone to pull out their phone, look it up on Google reviews, and then leave a review. Google would see their physical location, that they actually came there, that they called you, that they got directions, whatever. Google negative reviews, if you do not reply to them, will be highlighted at the very top. This is one that kind of, without putting my little spin on it to make the best use of our time. If there's negative reviews, reply to it, be professional. Forget that person. If that person's being a jerk, still reply. And you don't be a jerk. I've had some clients that are usually older that will fight me on that. They're like, no, that guy's just da, 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 da. I'm going to tell him what it is. And it's like, no. Stop. Because Google will literally go and highlight all of your negativity above all of your 5-star reviews. Let's say you have 1,000 5 stars and 3 1-stars, and you go and, B-word them out in the review. Everyone that comes to see you, all of your new potential people will see that. And I don't know about you, but if I saw a restaurant where the owner's screaming at people, probably wouldn't want to eat there. So to me, it's more, again, well, I'm so sorry. I'm Brad. I'm the owner of Solve Design Create. I actually don't see your name in our customer database. So are you sure you're reviewing the right marketing company? If you are, here's my direct number. Please call me. I want to make this right. I want to figure out a way. Now you seem like a real person. And again, let's be real. When you see a restaurant, let's just use that as an easy example, has 1,000 5-star reviews and 5 negative ones, either A, it's their competition, B, the person's just, having a bad day and it is what it is. But again, you cannot remove reviews. So definitely reply to them. Backlinks are a very, very good question. How do you feel about affiliate links or backlinks? I love affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is basically a way where you can build an army of people. So that would be like if all of you could go and sell websites for me today. And I do that. If you send me business, I give people a 10% referral towards work. Someone in this group has literally sent enough work that they've chipped away a good portion of their website just by referrals. And again, once that website's up, I'm sure that's not going to stop. we built a relationship. Affiliate. So that's an affiliate goes both ways. So I'm saying like, if I offer something and then I offer an affiliate system, so now you can resell it. The other way would be doing like affiliate on Amazon. Again, I love that. I worked with a lady that was in the dementia and caregiving niche. She would go and talk about books all the time. And I was like, hey, wait a sec. We could get you an affiliate program on Amazon. And now when you recommend those books without marking them up, without being dishonest, without doing anything all I'm doing is I'm helping people. And you were already doing it. I had another lady that had a crystal business. Same thing. She would recommend books all the time to people. You can get 6 to 10% commission for literally telling someone to go buy something that they're probably going to buy anyways. I do it all the time with technology. Hey, if you need a mouse, I love this Logitech mouse. Oh, hey, if you're a video editor, you need to get a tour box. Tour boxes are great, whatever. And then you go and buy it. I'm making money just because I recommended it. Now, in the same, and this kind of goes back to SEO, but I would say this is a good marketing overall thing. Be relevant, stay on course. I talk about coffee all the time. I guess I could go and make affiliate links for coffee and like, oh, I love Death Wish coffee. Go buy Death Wish coffee, guys. And yeah, if you find a way with your personality that I literally drink enough coffee that I can make that kind of a funny thing, I guess you could find a way to relate that. But from an SEO perspective, coffee has nothing to do with web design. Did I just say that? Did I really just say that? Don't tell anyone I said that. But technically it doesn't. It would more be, again, WordPress, themes, web hosting, because that's actually what my business revolves around. That would be a better affiliate thing. And again, I do that. I don't like what a lot of web designers do. They'll go and buy, and I'll even admit at one point I did this. I paid $150 a month for a $300 or $400 server because I paid, I got a good deal. I got a Black Friday sale, knocked it in. And then I would go and sublet you hosting. If your web designer is doing that, as soon as we get off this call, I want you to fire them. In fact, you can even leave early and fire them, and I will give you an hour free because that is the worst thing you can do for your business. You want to isolate everything. You should buy your own hosting package. Again, that's like me saying I'm going to buy you a car, but I'm keeping the title. So guess what? As soon as we have a disagreement, I'm coming with a tow truck, and that's my car. If it's your hosting, everything that I do, I build it from the ground up in my client's name. You have full admin access day one. There is no handoff of logins because it's all yours. I'm being granted delegate access. And to me, that definitely revolves back to security. I'm eliminating the risk. What's hard, a lot of people don't know the risks they're taking. And when I say it, it's like, oh, well, obviously I shouldn't have every one of my employees that change out all the time being admins on my Facebook page. Oh my God, that's horrible. But in the same kind of think, like if you were going on vacation, would you leave your house unlocked? Of course you wouldn't. To me, I would almost say you should be paranoid with security, because if you aren't, you're going to wish you were when your identity gets stolen and you spend thousands of hours trying to fix it. And again, I regularly, this is something I just got on Kickstarter. It's called a password pocket. And it's basically analog version of LastPass. And I got that because I have some clients that don't want LastPass. So I'm literally learning. I'm trying something that I don't want, but I'm doing it because I know I can help people with it. I didn't like Authy. So I got something called a YubiKey. And literally this teeny little device, that little guy, it's a touch pad. And basically it authorizes to generate its own two-step keys. So now I'm making my own two-step codes. I'm not dependent on Authy or Google or anything else. So technically to break into any of my stuff, you'd have to come up here, get through the Rottweiler, get through me, and steal this. Good luck doing that. If you do that, you can get to my accounts. And again, I feel like I need to do that because if I didn't do that, I would be giving your security, my clients, I would be putting them in danger. So again, Diane, are you offering your clients hosting on your server? No, I don't do that. I will not do that. To me, and again, I would say fire the web designers that are. Those people suck, and they're using 20-year-old methods, and they're hurting you more than they're helping you. I had a client recently who had a problem with this. Let me be careful how I say it, but a client was being hosted on their previous web designer's hosting. The plan was to move to me as soon as we rebuild the site. Well, that plan got expedited because the old web designer got hacked. The problem is when you share hosting, it's like an apartment building. Someone fell asleep with a cigarette in their mouth and now your house is on fire. Why? Well, because you live in the same building as them. So in that sense, if you separate everything, that's one of the biggest risks you can take is combining things. That's like literally having all of your friends on Facebook being an admin, or even your high school friends, whatever. Isolate. And again, without saying be paranoid, it's the smartest thing is to protect yourself. I don't like giving checks. If I pay for something, I'm not going to give, I have my checks. It's right here, but I'm not going to go and give you my check because it has my account number on it. So I try to do that as minimally as I can. In fact, like when I pay for things, I use a lot. I have Apple Pay. I have even Capital One is one that does this. You can use virtual cards. So when I'm paying for things online, I'm literally creating a credit card, almost like a burner number. And again, that has a very bad connotation. That sounds like a burner phone, like people with illicit businesses would do. But again, from a security standpoint, I am creating basically a credit card that is for use on the fly. So, you know how companies go and auto bill you? Well, guess what? That doesn't happen if that credit card number is gone. As far as hosting, without a doubt, I am loyal to performance. I've tried them all. Every hosting company you can name, Bluehost, 1&1, GoDaddy. Without wasting too much time on this, A2 hosting is the best one. A2. So A like Apple, number 2, hosting.com, A2 hosting. They have won all the speed tests. Their customer service is amazing. HostGator, awful. SiteGround used to be really good. They tripled their price. GoDaddy literally will charge you about $800 for what I can get people at A2 for about $300. I love setting up hosting. That's something that a lot of web designers don't like doing. I love cPanel. I've done it so many times now. It's like the back of my hand. If anyone needs help with hosting or servers, hit me up. But again, to me, you want a company that's going to be there when you need them. And like literally with A2 hosting, I have a client in here who will remember this. Their email stopped working. They called A2 hosting and A2 hosting got it fixed. A2 hosting got it fixed with them. And again, I bill for my time. So by having a support thing with that, I'm saving you money because I'm giving you solutions that you can count on versus like GoDaddy. I had a celebrity in 2018 that went viral. So over about 10 to 14 days, they got 55 million hits. I was able to keep them online for 98.4% of 55 million hits. GoDaddy's top techs hated me because I was just constantly like, nope, not good enough. Nope. What do you mean it's down? What do you mean? I can just spin another WordPress. We can just clone it. I can do this with AWS. You don't know what you're talking about. Nope, I'm sorry, you're wrong. And it's one of those things. I don't want to come off as cocky or be a jerk, but I know my stuff. And if you tell me that red is blue, nope. I need someone else. So, and literally the top tiers at GoDaddy couldn't get that up. Someone just asked how to move my hosting from GoDaddy to A2 hosting. So that is very good question. Moving hosting is a pain in the butt. If you're not familiar with it, I would say you probably should hire someone. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you for coming. Big hugs to you guys. So if you're moving your hosting, the steps basically would be, you would have to first back up your website. That would be obviously the number one thing. Once you back up your website, I like a thing called all-in-one WP migration. I paid for it years ago and I've used it. Seriously, something that I got my money's worth out of. It makes basically a WPress file, .wpress, and then it would move it. If you don't have WordPress, yes, you could do FTP and you could save all the files. But again, this gets really muddy really quick. You know, how do I rebuild my engine? Well, you might have to go to a machine shop. You can't do all that stuff at home. The one thing that I will say about moving your hosting that is usually a pain in the butt and a very good solution around that. Let's say right now you're with GoDaddy and you want to move to A2. You're like, oh my God, I love this Brad guy. I'm moving to A2 tomorrow. Okay, so here would basically be the problem. The emails that would be on your cPanel email, thank you, Aomi, your emails would basically go away when you move. So like, let's say again, we disconnect your GoDaddy, we move to A2, all of the emails that were in your inbox would basically disappear because that server is connected via name servers to your domain name. So domain name is your .com. Through the .com, it connects to your name servers you're hosting, and then the emails with that. So what I suggest, a very easy way around that, get something like Google Workspaces or Office 365. And what that would allow you to do, let's say I want to change my hosting every year, which is horrible for SEO. Please don't do that. But just for example's sake, every time you change your hosting, you would then go add the MX records. And again, Google literally, it used to be 10 records. Now it's one. It's literally one MX record. And then now it's connected and done. Then with your new hosting, all you'd have to do is back up your site, restore it, make sure the Google ID and the records are correct. And then bam, you'd lose nothing. Excuse me, all of your emails would still be in there. I haven't even drank my coffee. What am I doing? What's wrong with me? Who am I? Where have I gone? But once you'd move everything, basically everything would be there. And like what I try to do, usually I can do a hosting migration in about 30 minutes to an hour. I would first back up your site, let that run, go and set up the new server with whatever the email credentials are, be it cPanel, go and create the accounts, Workspace, Office 365. And then I almost have a darn near seamless transition. There always is a little bit of a transition. They always say, oh, it'll take 24 to 48 hours for it to propagate. It doesn't. It takes 15 minutes to an hour, maybe 3 hours at most. But again, as long as you plumb everything correctly, and plumbing is a great analogy for that. Let's say you have 10 email addresses. I want you to picture 10 pipes. Don't go and unplug that and have 0 pipes. And then, oh my God, and I lost all my emails. What did we do? If you had 10 pipes, made your new 10 pipes, and then connected them, no water would drop. That basically would be the way to do that. I'm just checking on the chat just to make sure I didn't miss anything. One of the next things I want to get into is MailChimp and newsletters and SMS campaigns. Someone just hopped in Naples that is doing newsletters with MailChimp. A bunch of you are, but someone in particular. So hi. Yep, there you are. To me, I would say, and actually I want to talk to you about this when we have a chance. That's a get off course here. Newsletters absolutely could turn into blog posts. Blog posts can turn into newsletters. They go back and forth, right? Like we talked about RSS feeds before. MailChimp is my favorite. Constant Contact is the other one. That's the Ford versus Chevy. I can't help it if I always like my Camaros and Trans Ams more than Mustangs, but MailChimp got bought out by Intuit. I will say I don't like Intuit, and they've kind of hurt MailChimp. I am now looking back at Constant Contact to see, again, though, in the same competition is a beautiful thing. If Intuit tanks MailChimp, Constant Contact likely will fix what they are lacking, and it makes growth. And guess what? A third party might come out. I would say whatever you do, and this is very, very, very important, do not ever, ever, ever spam people by opening your email, your email program and putting 50 emails in the to or the BCC. Now, yes, BCC would hide it. We would all see that you were sending it to yourself, but we wouldn't see the other people that you're sending it to. If your email address gets flagged as a spammer, you are going to spend thousands of dollars to fix that. And if your domain name is your business name, that's shooting yourself in the foot in a way that you do not want to do. There's a thing called MX Toolbox, MX, so like Mary, X-ray, and then Toolbox, like you'd keep your tools in. They have a domain blacklist lookup. I've done some of these through the years, and I don't like doing them. Please heed my warning so you don't have to pay me to fix this later. If you instead just use something like MailChimp, respect people's opt-out. If I opt out, don't add me back. And I will say, again, a little bit aggressively, sometimes when I have like a client with a local point of sale, I will go ahead and import in all of their customer database and send them one email. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm one of the people sending you emails. I'm part of why your inbox is full of crap. I'm sorry. I got to pay my bills. But what I do, again, I try to think, what would I want? For sure, tell them what you're doing. Hey, we're going to start offering a sale. Once a week, we're going to have a featured menu item and it's half off and blah, blah, blah. But just to show our appreciation, because you're already a customer, I'm going to give you this free. Come in and buy a dinner and we'll give you a free dessert with it or whatever. And again, with the marketing, it's usually the illusion of free. If you're buying a $20 meal and I give you a $5 dessert, I'm not losing anything. I'm cutting into the profit on the $20 one and I'm still okay. And the customer has the warm and fuzzy of feeling good, right? So I would say in that makes the most sense. And I think in a big way, if you can use something like MailChimp, and again, it automatically, it's like, why wouldn't you? It's a no-brainer. It will automatically respect the people that are then blacklisted on your list that say, don't send me any more crap. I'm not interested. You'll know now that you can respect it. Also, and this is where I'm going to be like, this is the risk. Technically, the Can Spam Act, I have a company that I actually worked with up here, personally, not business-wise. Let me not say what it was. Let me carefully posture this. A company that I needed what they offer. They did a mail blast, BCC, asking for Google reviews. Horrible idea. Basically, it's like a slap in the face that you don't care about me. For one, you don't honor my privacy. My privacy means nothing to you. I'm just a number and just an account. But beyond that, probably going to get your domain blacklisted and probably going to upset Google if they ever find out that you're basically doing paid reviews. Could get your Google My Business blacklisted and now you'd be removed and now no one's going to find you. So great way to go out of business, right? So in that sense, how do you do this stuff? How do we ask? Be respectful. Make it on individualized emails. Ask them at your own interval. When they tell you that they love the service that you just provided, that's when you ask. And again, I will automate it on, like I said, with the service provider guy, the beauty salon. I will do it in point of sales, but I'm not sending it to everyone randomly where it's so obvious. In this day and age, everyone show of hands. Do you know when you're being sold to? You do, don't you? We all do. That's just a human thing. And no one likes it. Does anyone like being sold to? Does anyone love when a solicitor, fun story, Christina, sorry, Christina, I love you to death. We went to Bass Pro or one of those, outdoor world place. And this girl comes up to her and like, when I'm there, I'm like, get out of here. I'm looking at my pocket knives. Get out of here. Get out of my way. Tunnel vision. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. And they come up and they're like, oh my God, I love your hair. And then guess what? They want to sign us up for some vacation, whatever. And it's like, stop. Christina is too kind. We all know when we're being sold to, though. So, and as soon as you realize it, then you're like, oh God, now you're going to waste my time for 30 minutes telling me about a freaking vacation thing in Orlando I don't even want to go to. Great. I think instead, again, it's circling back, provide value. If you're a photographer, offering something. And again, I'm not telling you to lose money. I'm not telling you to go do free headshots. I'm telling you that, okay, I'm going to book a family session with you. So maybe you give me half off my headshots. And you know what? We do it at the same time. She takes the kids and then you and I go take headshots for my website. If I had a photographer that offered me that, I would have taken them up on that. I need headshots right now. Any of you guys photographers want to give me headshots? But it's one of those things that I think, think about what people how would you feel if someone was doing this? I feel like so often with marketing, people don't think. And it's like, you look back and you're just like, oh God, that was really careless and cold. And just like, you might as well have just been like, hey, I want your money. Do you have money? Can I have some of it? It's like, that is not how you get business. And again, a classic marketing psychology thing is always about like, what is their problem? So again, like, let's say like, I need headshots. So then a photographer then tells me, okay, well, I'm really good at creating headshots. I love helping people pull their best image out. I'm really good at getting people to laugh and be their authentic self. You know what, Brad, you're really nerdy and techie, although that's not really my style. I have some ideas that we could really pull that off. And again, the photographer I worked with, I love, she took me downtown Detroit. The cops were like looking at us like, are we crazy as we're doing all these photo shoots in front of the GM World headquarters and stuff, right? But fun security. But again, she was able to give me that very techie, nerdy feel for my photos. And again, for my business, that's very important. I haven't met most of my clients. A lot of them I probably never will meet. So in that sense, by having that presentation, when you go to solvedesigncreate.com, you see me. And then when you see me, you know that I'm a real person. When you go and read those Google reviews, when you go and look up my LLC on Sunbiz, it says my name on it. It's me. I am the business. You're going to get me. I'm not going to hand you off to some kid that doesn't care about it, that I'm barely paying enough, that hates their job. And I think that's something that, again, it to me, that's like, I don't understand how that is a feasible business model. I've seen a lot of web designers that do things like that, where they scale their business and they'll just go get disposable people, but the quality reflects it. It's like a restaurant that you go to that one week the food's amazing and the next week the food's off, right? Because like the chef's not there, the boss leaves. I think that is so important to make sure that the quality is always there. And we're human. We're all human. Like, let's be real. But again, back to why I love technology so much. I feel like my superpower is technology. Without technology, I can't be as good as I can be. And I don't want to rely on it. So to make a good analogy for music, I'm not telling you to go be the guitarist that has so many effect pedals. And I often said I was that guy, but I could still shred. I could still play really fast. I could play behind my head. I came up with really cool riffs. I tried to be different and use harmonics and do all this weird stuff. I wasn't dependent on the effect. I wasn't hiding behind it. Don't hide behind your technology. Use it as an amplifier. Because me playing an acoustic guitar versus a wall full of amplifiers, I can blow everyone's hearing out with one. And maybe that's not the right thing for each occasion, but if you're playing that world tour, you want to be as loud as you can be. And again, like MailChimp, being able to get your updates out regularly to people. One thing that I love, and I know we're jumping around a lot. Sorry, Gemini. But this is a very relevant one. And I would say this is a very good point to make. Let's say you have a hair salon. People don't know all the services you offer. I didn't even know you did men's cuts. I've been taking my wife here and I didn't even know. You can do my beard. I didn't know you did that. You do kids. You're good with kids. Oh, wow. You do extensions, whatever those different things are. So something I like doing, I'm still healing from your distortion pedals. I miss playing with you. So one thing that I really like doing is having customers where like, we'll do something where once a month, and I'm using AI to do this, I'm coming up with a blog post for every single thing that they offer. So, and again, some things that could get redundant. If you have a 300 item menu, well, then no, you have enough items that you can spread that out over the year. Give me a smoothie today, a burger tomorrow, a salad the next day, whatever. You can kind of do that. But most businesses, what I usually find, they usually have about 5 to 10 things. If you really summarize of what it is, what do you do? Tell us. Because again, and a lot of it, one person in particular I've been working with in years that I'm thinking of here, a lot of people don't know what her business is. They don't understand it. And you almost have to educate people. I feel like that's a big part of being self-employed. Of course, yes. Why should we work with you? But what do you offer? How will what you offer help me? How will it solve a problem that I have? And again, if you're marketing around that, well, I've got whatever lower back issues and it hurts, and you're talking about that. Well, don't talk about tired feet. And again, I feel like it's like someone trying to sell me a haircut. It's like, no, that wasn't the thing. You should have told me you're a barbershop for my beard. There's no hair to cut. I'm just going to go shave my head. Great. I'm so glad you can dye the hair I don't have. So I feel like as long as you're marketing to the correct group, and again, regularly talking about what you do. Earlier on, I said something about like, if I market food right before lunchtime, but it's one of those things. I have so many people in 10 years of doing this. I can't tell you how many people have come to me 1, 3, 5. I've literally had people come back almost like 10 years later. And they're like, oh yeah, I remember you're that web design guy. And it's one of those things. I obviously made an impression on them. Christina always says I'm hard to forget. And I guess I have my personality, right? But I feel like in that sense, if you can really build that to me is part of that relationship. And as a dating analogy, picturing me walking in with my blue, white, and black mohawk back in the day, right? But if you make a stand and if you make your voice heard, and sometimes, and I feel like this is a very good way to say it, it's not necessarily just about yelling. I feel like it's saying it in a way where it provides value. I'm going to start doing a lot of these, and in the future ones, they're going to be very focused. So like the next one that I'm thinking is probably going to be security. So literally it's going to be an hour on security. And again, a lot of people will get bored from that. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't care about that. Wait till your credit card and your identity gets stolen. Wait till someone's opening up a mortgage with your social security that you weren't secure with. And let me know if you don't care about security then. I bet you'll care. And the problem is then it will be very expensive to clean it up. The classic, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? And again, to me, I tell clients this all the time, and they're already overwhelmed with the website and the video and the logo and the business cards and everything else we're working on. So if I can start giving that out, I'm doing my part to make the world a better place. But it's something that I feel like, again, how do you do this? How do you learn about it? How do you make sure you're staying up on things? And that was something that I had written on my little question of like, how do we keep up? Like, oh my God, there's so much, Brad. You talked about 5 billion things and 40 million acronyms, and how do we even do it? I will say AI is kind of useful. I even did it for this meeting. I even said, like, what are things that businesses should know going into 2024? What are the best investments? And again, I'll say it helps that I'm experienced with it, because I can be like, yeah, click per pay is okay, but I've seen people waste money. And if they didn't target it correctly, it's actually, no, that's not so smart. They wasted 10 grand. They could have built a website for 5. And in 3 to 6 months, we would have outperformed that anyways. So no. So, I mean, you do need some bias there. I will say networking groups are awesome. I have an autoimmune disease and I do a chemotherapy infusion. So sadly, I am not the social butterfly I used to be. But social media has been really good for me in that. I'm in a lot. I just got into 3D printing. I'm in a bunch of groups where I've got experts, guys that know way more than me, and they're helping me. They're helping me learn. That's how I try to help my clients with my business. I try to be very, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it with you. Tell me what you're experiencing and let me concoct a solution based on your needs. Not just everyone should get MailChimp. Well, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe for your business, it doesn't make sense. For my service guy, no, he does it through his point of sale because that made more sense. But what I will say, a lot of the times by using the real solution, I had a client last week ask me about, like, can I just go get a cheap camera on Amazon? And I was like, I wouldn't. I feel like a lot of times, and again, I'm a little bit of a snob here. If you're going to go take photos for your business, creating content is so important in this day and age. And let's kind of focus on that. There's 2 folds on that. One is the nice and professional polished stuff. And I would say arguably that's what I like to focus more on. But again, I did a little story on Facebook, literally just, hey guys, I'm super excited about this meeting. I'm going to give away so much stuff. I'm so excited. I want to help everybody. I love you guys. Yay. And again, the algorithms literally will prioritize selfie, crappy, garbage videos that as a media professional drive me insane. But as a real person, it's like, okay, no, that's actually authentic, because that was literally just me talking like I'm talking to all, like I talk to you if you were sitting here in my office with me. And I feel like in a big way, you need both. What I'll say, don't make your content strategy be so stressful that you don't do it. Because I would rather someone give me iPhone photos and use those for those blogs. Let's say I made you 1,000 blog posts. To me, it would be way better if every day you were taking 5 to 10 pictures with your phone. Please make sure it's on high resolution. Make sure it's 16:9. Make sure it's horizontal. I can see my photographer friend laughing about that because we talk about that all the time. But in that sense, if you make it to where it's just easy and streamlined, you need to make this part of your flow. You need to make this all. Marketing should be an extra step. And I know that's a pain in the butt. And you're like, oh, great, one more thing to do. But again, you wouldn't not give them their receipt. You wouldn't not give them their change. You wouldn't not package the product. You wouldn't just sell them food and just throw it at them. You got to put it on a plate or in the package, right? So to me, that's one of the most important things. And I don't care what it is. You have to make, it's like being a band and not recording your shows. And I know you can't record every show, but even having someone just do a quick live stream of it, even just to show, you know, that really good guitar solo or that amazing belted high or whatever. But if you're not capturing it, and I was always the nerd in my bands, and I tried to record everything, every band practice. I was like, we must record. But in the same, you see all these bands that don't do anything. And again, then they go struggle because now they got to go spend $5,000 in a music video. And as a broke artist in my 20s, I made $500 music videos and they served their purpose. And I built my following and I did what I needed to do. And I was horrible at video editing in some of those videos. When I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, can you say iMovie any louder than their templates? And now I'm using After Effects and Cinema 4D and 3D animation and blah, 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 blah. But again, start somewhere. And even if it's just literally you on your phone, Canva, again, there's so many free tools out there. I will say be a little weary, read the reviews. If you see something is asking for full permission, you know, going back to security, I don't like things that want to see my contacts and read all my messages just to edit my photos. But again, Canva is a great place to start. If you have an Apple device, iMovie comes free on every Apple device. There you go. There's no excuse. Start working on your videos. Something that like I'll do for a lot of clients. I've been throwing in logo stings on all my big projects. I spent way too much on a computer. I love these. I needed it. It's tremendously sped me up, but I have the capabilities. I can render something that used to take 2 hours in literally 2 minutes. So now every client, I'm like, hey, let me make you a logo sting. And guess what? It's got me business. I make them look professional and I'm helping them with templating because that's the kind of thing. You give me your logo, I make a sting. You could now open up iMovie, throw my sting in, and then go throw your selfie video in. And now it looks like a marketing agency is pumping this stuff out. And again, not everything does that matter for, but I would say, especially in things like photography, if your art is what you're selling, how you present that art is so important. I've seen some artists where they take pictures of paintings and stuff, and it's just like, oh God, that's awful. And then I see other ones that go the extreme other direction where they go to a professional signage guy and they're paying $500. I think to me, and this was kind of being a DIY, artist, musician, you have to find ways to try to do this stuff in-house. The camera that I'm looking at you guys through right now is called an Osbot, OSBOT. And when I move, it moves. And if I had a whiteboard and I was walking around, and you can do these little hand gestures where like you can make it lock into your face and you can make it zoom in and all sorts of cool stuff. Right now it's not moving, right? But again, something like that, I want to say I spent $230 on it and it was a Black Friday sale. But getting the equipment yourself, I need a pro photographer. I do. I need to get headshots. I'm not going to go try to do those myself. I will go pay someone for that. In the same, I have the equipment. I should still try. I bet you I could come up with some cool stuff with my keyboard or whatever. So I think in that it's important for businesses, instead of investing in the designer brand and the fancy shoes or something like that, getting tools for your business that can help you. And specifically, again, how can you make it better? Someone just asked what microphone this is. Honestly, this was actually a gift from a very good friend who I think is in the meeting. These are about $350. This is an SM7B Shure microphone. It is the metal microphone to sing and to scream and to belt in. And sadly, since I got it, music has gone by the wayside for me. So the only screaming I'm doing here is if I'm doing something like that. But SM7B, this is also the industry standard podcast mic. Honestly, though, you don't need that. I do it because I make training videos all day long. So to me, it's great because it cuts out the baby screaming, the dog barking, and I can just, okay, I bet I sound really good. I have this going through a cloud lifter and then into a Focusrite interface. Focusrite interfaces are like the cheapest one. Like any musician here is going to be like, ew, Focusrite, that's garbage. But I don't need to buy $1,000 Apollo one to do voiceovers either. There's a popular burger place in Naples, Florida. And when you call their 855 number, I'm the voice because literally no one else wanted to do it. And I was like, okay, it's got to get done. Thank you for calling the such and such family of restaurants. Press 1 for original downtown. And this is what I used for it. That being said, Osbot, back to the OSBOT. And I'm going to take a picture with my phone so I can, oh, my phone's dead. Can't do that. Okay. Well, I was going to say to show you it. I have the Osbot and I have it on a little tripod so I can move it up and down. And that way, again, depending on what it is. But there, I just moved it down. I moved it up, whatever. But I love this thing. And I would say this is one of the best investments I've made because it's so easy to make videos. Now in the same, maybe you're a photographer and you're out on the job. Then maybe a DJI handheld gimbal one would be better. Those are really cool because it's literally like a stick. It almost looks like this is a GoPro on a little mini handheld, but it's basically a gimbal. A gimbal is something that has a motor in it. It moves the camera and keeps it isolated on you. And it makes, when you move, it makes a very smooth movement. A DJI gimbal is about $300 too. So if you're trying to go to selfie videos, that would work. Again, if you're struggling and you're just trying to get your business off the ground, I bet you have a smartphone. Start here. But once you see it start making money, if you started somewhere with it, you're going to get more business. Talk about what you're doing. They're going to hear about it. They're going to start to see your passion, your expertise, your knowledge. And again, I had a web designer ask me, they're like, oh, you're going to give away all your magic. I dare you to go learn SEO. I dare you to spend, you will lose your hair. You know how I know? You will lose your hair to try to figure out how to do all of that stuff. And that's where, to me, I'm not afraid to give it away. It's constantly changing. Ask me anything and I will give you the answer. You're talking to the engineer. What do you want to know? Someone said, what would you recommend for cooking videos? Logitech just came out with a new camera and I don't know the name, but they just came out with it. I'm sure it'll be a Black Friday thing. And it's literally, it comes with a boom and it's made to basically do overhead videos. So like if I was a crafter or a cooker a chef, totally the word. If I was a chef and I wanted to, yeah, don't you guys laugh at that. You stop it. Don't make me nervous. You make me blush. But if I wanted to do an overhead video, it would basically have that stand. Back in the day, that would be a pain in the butt because you'd have to get, I'm getting old now. Oh my God, back in the day, you'd have to get like a boom stand and then hang the camera over it and tilt it down and whatever. So Logitech basically made something that's like, let's say I was soldering an electronic right here on my desk. I could put the camera up here and point it down. I will say for videos, and this is a good thing to kind of, as far as content, this is boring. Like, honestly, I didn't really want to do this. I thought about doing a screen share and going through it, but I was like, you know what? I'll be faster if I'm just authentic. I'm doing what I do on every client meeting. So I literally don't have to think about this. This is just me being me. But when I'm working with a client one-on-one, I will literally go to it. I'd pull up the Ozbot. I'd pull up Namecheap. And I would actually go to it and show them what it is. I would say in your own videos, and some of it you do have to gussy up a little bit. Like if it's a cooking one, maybe you would go set a camera and then you would go and do all your chopping and then go and put it back and then you'd edit that in. But having a video like this where it's just a talking head, do as I say, not as I do. Having just a talking head is genuinely kind of boring and people usually don't really stick as much with that. The purpose of this, why am I even doing this? I have this recording. I'm going to be chopping this up and making very short digestible clips to start sharing on social media. That's totally fine if it's me just talking. That can be real. And then I literally have a minute for a Facebook story. It's not like I have 5 minutes or an hour. Okay, then we're going to chop all the carrots. Okay, here's my really nice knife. But in the same, there is something to presentation. And I think that is important. I literally had someone once tell me like, oh, you have an Apple laptop. You must know it. And I was like, really? Because I spent $2,000 on a laptop. That tells you that. Not that I had good credit, not that I liked, totally. That means I'm the best in the world. But that being said, if you do invest, I have a couple of hairstylists in here. I know the two I'm looking at right now on the screen. I know they both have very nice scissors, way nicer than something you're going to get at Bo-Rix, I'm sure. And some of that we all like to, I don't want to say spoil ourselves a little bit, but I do think in a big way, having the right tools also helps you provide it. And that's where it's like, again, I got this microphone set up not to sing metal, but for you, because I want your training videos to be better. And I want my voiceovers to be that good. So I'm not far away and the fan's on, the air's on, and the dog and all. Now your training video is garbage. So again, by doing that, I hope that provides more value to my clients, right? And I think a lot of it too, asking people. And one person particular in here, I definitely would say we're friends and business, but I remember many times her offering kind of insights into like, oh, well, I really like how you did this. And I think you should do more of this. And I think a lot of the people that work with you, the people that eat your food know if it tastes good and what they would like. And again, I would welcome that. Please tell me what you liked about this. What didn't you like? What was overwhelming? What was easy to understand? What should we have talked about more? What my plan was for these is to have the invitation kind of closed because you guys can ask questions. So I charge $200 an hour for this. I'm going to give you the answers to anything you can ask me for free and not charge you for it by being, and you guys are helping me by adding value to it too. Right. I do want to create kind of like a mastermind group and basically the people that get it, the ones that, again, going back to the people that don't fight you, the ones that actually want to grow. One client in here is a photographer and she's in a group that she actually sent me to. Hi. And that group basically helps photographers be better business people. It teaches them. And again, in some ways, sometimes things get a little generic when you formulate it. I feel like, again, like be as aggressive as you can without seeming like you don't care. You need to use formulas enough. Every song it's still a song. There's still the instruments, right? No, I don't want every song to sound the same. I don't want them all to use the same chords. But in the same, okay, well, we know what an intro is. We know what an outro is. We know what a breakdown is. We know what a chorus is. Does every song need a chorus? Well, maybe everyone doesn't. But in general, most songs have a chorus. Maybe the intro is the chorus, whatever. But it's one of those things that I think if you can find ways, just like tools, don't make yourself completely reliant on them, but finding this technology exists. And guess what? If you don't use it, your competitors will. And if your competitors use it, and if I use it and we get ahead of you and people looking for what you do, where you do it, find us instead of you, it's going to hurt your business. So again, I feel like in that it behooves everyone. We have to find ways to get ahead of this. We can't be intimidated by it. And again, I can't stress enough YouTube. And yeah, there's Lynda, lynda.com. There's so many platforms. If you really do need the on-depth, they'll have the written handouts. They'll have the video. They'll have all that. I can't tell you how many times I've found workarounds where I'm like, okay, the 5 things I tried didn't work. I have a 6th idea, but I'm not quite sure how to do it. But I'm dangerous enough. I'm not a JavaScript programmer, but I know enough that I can find my way around it by looking up a YouTube video and finding that. And I think that's really it. As a kid, I remember using like Windows 95 and Windows 98, and I would literally open every single thing and try everything and try to figure out how it works. And again, like some things, yes, you can break, but it's not the end of the world. Like you're not going to set the computer on fire because you opened all the stuff. Now, granted, overclocking your CPU may do that, but in general, don't be afraid of the tool. You should learn how to work on your car. You should have a mechanic show you how to change, and I feel because guess what? Now, when you go to get your oil changed, you won't get taken advantage of. You'll know what the air filter is and when it should be changed versus, I don't know, do I need it? I guess I need it every single time. Or are they just saying that to get money out of you? And I think that is a really big part. I don't like businesses that there was, we'll kind of wrap up on this. It was a church actually, and it was called Church in a Box. And the way that the guy said it, he was like, church in a box doesn't work. It was a pastor giving a sermon. And he was saying that basically a church in a box wouldn't work because every community is different. Every patron, every newcomer is different. Every pastor is different. And that basically you can't streamline everything. I don't build the same website for every single client. I build it based on what they need. Now, yes, a lot of things are similar. A lot of them, I use lead call buttons as a plugin because it's great. It makes it very mobile friendly and whatever. There's things I reuse, but I do it differently for well, maybe you don't have online ordering. Maybe you don't want people to call you. Maybe you don't want people to email you. Well, every client's different. So I think in that sense, that to me is really, again, like I hear my grandpa's wisdom in that, where it's like, if you can find ways to adapt these things to yourself, if you even only use one of these tools and I save you 5 minutes every single week, guess what? Over the course of the year, I just made you enough time now that you can start making videos, that now you can start taking photos, that now you start making this part of your daily step. And I really think that's it. We need to integrate it. And I'll say I'm bad about it too. I don't take pictures of every website. I can't tell you how many celebrity jobs I've had, and I don't get any bragging rights from it. I don't get a picture of me and the automotive celebrity with my sport bike and my car. Why didn't I do that? And part of it, I try not to be a Kardashian, heartless, plastic, non-existent person. I try to be a little bit of a real person still, even with my alien tendencies. But I think in that, without saying to be selfish, don't neglect your business. Make sure that you treat your business. And again, as a parent, I'll say it's like your kid. I feed my kid before I eat. I want to make sure they're good. I think that's part of it where like you need to make sure with what you're doing, take care of your customer. Of course, absolutely take care of them. But try to get something to promote your own business out of that. Because if you didn't get that behind the scenes shot of your photo shoot, if you didn't take a picture of that meal, if you didn't write down the steps, if you didn't live stream the event, if you didn't do anything, the rest of us basically don't know. If you're not telling us monthly about every single service you offer, if you're not finding some way to make yourself relevant, someone else is going to. I promise you. I guarantee you they are. I'm helping them do it. And that's where I would say that is one of the easiest things. I love it. I feel like when I see that, I get so excited when I see a client. I'm like, okay, this is our opportunity. No one in your niche is doing this. All we got to do is take a picture and post about it. Let's go. Let's do it. And in the same, don't overwhelm people with, I'm remembering I had a lady that did meditations. And I remember when we did that, there were so many meditations online. it didn't make sense to just do one for every single thing. But if I made a meditation for entrepreneurs, well, now I found something that I can share to business groups. I can give away free to people. I think if you can provide value, and again, that whole illusion of free, I have to get business. We all have to get business. But I do think you have to help. You have to try to create that light in the world. We are at 12:30, so I do want to be respectful of everyone's time. There will be a recording of it. It did stream again. And I'm going to obviously be trickling it out. If you guys have questions, please send them to me. I'll definitely try to get them in the next ones. I don't know. I really think I appreciate you guys for coming. I appreciate you for taking the time. I really think that in a big way, you guys are why I wanted to do this. And like I said, I really hope that you guys get value out of this. I hope that even if you find one thing from this to help your business, like I said, if it can create that time, then it was worth it. Then I made my day. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. If you wouldn't mind leaving me a comment on social media and just, did you enjoy it? You're going to help me. We're going to jack the algorithm. Thank you. And just, yeah, I really appreciate you guys. And I hope you all have a great day. And yeah, if you need marketing, hit up Solve, Design, Create, right? Ooh, ah, ooh, ah.
Thank you,
Thank
Brad.
you guys.